So let's go over the worksheet. Which activity does not have an external cost? It is buying the batteries, so that's something that you have to do because you got the remote and it doesn't really involve other people the same way that other people are affected by the oil burning, the junk, the noise, and the speeding. Question 2, when we have externalities, it is a misallocation of resources. And the reason, some of these answers look good for positive externalities. So with the positive externality, we have less than optimal level of production, but that wasn't specified. And negative externality, we have harm to those indirectly involved, and we have a greater than optimal level of production. I'm not sure whether that was a typo or what, but again, it wasn't specified. But with any type of externality, we have a misallocation of resources because we're not where we should be. We're either overproducing or underproducing, depending on what type of externality that we had. For these next questions, we're looking at the diagram, and private incentives are going to put us here. This is the private benefits. So there's going to be 50 vaccines at a price of $60. Private benefits are D1 and social benefits are D2. We're adding the external benefits to get a new demand curve that's further out because it's including all the benefits. Socially optimal number of vaccines is 75. So just because there's a positive externality doesn't mean we want to have 1 million vaccines. Because there's costs. It's just that we want to include all the benefits to compare them to the costs, and that would lead us to producing more than when we looked only at individual benefits and compared them to the cost. Number 6, this copper mine is causing problems downstream, and that means we're producing too much copper. The copper mine is only thinking about their own costs, and so that means they're not considering those spillover costs to others downstream. So they're producing where their marginal costs are equal to their marginal benefits, but at that point the total marginal costs are exceeding the marginal benefits, so it's too much. The second page of questions is about this room with the smokers, the one smoker and the non-smokers. So what's consistent with the Coase theorem, since the smoker values smoking at $5 and there's 9 occupants that value him to not smoke at 50 cents, the value of the not smoking is $4.50 and the value of the smoking is $5. So he really ought to smoke. That's the efficient outcome. And he may have to compensate them to get them to agree, since it's sort of a majority rule or a consensus scenario. So if the cigar smoker refrains from smoking, it's -50 because the smokers have a positive 450, the non-smokers, but the smoker is not getting to have that benefit, and so when we combine it, it's a -50. Whereas the total surplus, if he does smoke, it's the +5 and the -450. So that's a better outcome for them as a group, right? It's just not equally better for everybody, so he has to pay them off in order to allow it. If he paid them off 51 cents, then he would be better off because he would be able to smoke. You know, he's 9 times 51 cents is less than $5, and the other occupants would be better off because they're getting 51 cents of happiness from him instead of 50 cents of happiness from the clean air. So both sides better off. Now, smoking is allowed unless everyone agrees not to, and that means that we're already at that optimal situation with the cigar smoker allowed to smoke, and he doesn't need to compensate or pay off anybody, and so just the smoking happens. So the Coase theorem would predict if the property right belongs to the cigar smoker, then there will be smoking, and the property right to clean indoor air belongs to the room occupants, then there will be. We're going to have smoking either way because that is the better outcome with the higher surplus, and the rules only tell us whether or not someone's going to have to compensate somebody else for doing it, but we're always going to get to the best outcome, the highest surplus, efficient outcome in the Coase theorem because of the assumptions, which are pretty unrealistic, but in theoretically, that's what would happen under the theorem. Let me know if you have questions.